I said he was doing just his own thing when I was rudely interrupted by a phone call. And yes, shit, okay, because I'm recording on the phone and people are calling, whatever, they're gonna have to wait. So I realized that he was teaching in Paris, and because I was in bilingual school and I started speaking French, and I was also very much impressed by Paris, and I thought I'm going to be an artist in Paris one day. So all that together came nicely, you know, all that came nicely together, and I thought this is a great idea. I'm just going to follow him, and this is how the idea of going to Paris for a month, living with nuns, you know, came to my head, and that's why what I wanted to do. And then I think I applied for a couple of schools, and obviously I didn't. You know, I was taking these classes, but I was a teenager, like an advanced, you know, later, like 16, 17, 18. And I was taking classes, but it wasn't like super intense, all day long training. Obviously, that was all expensive. So to get to the level where you can apply to dance school, that was like, it was crazy to even think about it. And so in the meantime, when I was in Paris, I think I got the news that I failed the exams. I don't remember where the acting was at the time, but I think I was mostly about dancing at the time. And I was this kind of girl who wanted all or nothing, you know, like if I can't be a professional, like I don't do stuff just for fun, I don't do stuff for hobby, I want to be a professional, I want to make this my life, because I was always immersing myself in every subject to, you know, but for a short period of time, so it was kind of, yeah, this sort of energy, you know, like fire, kind of going there, burning and leaving, I don't know. Something like that. I always lacked patience, and I was easily enthused into things, but I wasn't very patient and persistent, and my self-esteem was quite low, and it was easy to discourage me. And yeah, when I was learning in Paris, and I was kind of looking at all these kids, you know, like, I don't know, 13 years old, and with super stretched and just, yeah, professional dancers at this age already, and I'm there kind of awkward with my, with my kind of, I never had a good relationship with my body, actually. I think it only came recently, and still, you know, still it's difficult. It's just ongoing process. But at the time, I was just, oh my god, it was so hard, and I didn't even have any friends, anyone to talk to. Really tough for me to even go to these classes and look at myself in the mirror. And obviously, when I think about it now, I was actually, you know, much slimmer. I was much more flexible and stuff like that. And I hated that, this idea of standing in front of a mirror and you know, making a fool of myself all the time, because I was trying different styles, even like jazz and like street jazz and stuff like that, which I'm completely, or hip hop, which I'm not really. My body is more of a hip hop, like urban dancer than a ballet dancer, but still, it's a kind of, yeah, that sucked. So it was very emotional, very kind of very happy time, actually, for me. One of the happiest times probably for my teenage years, but still quite difficult, you know. So I think then what happened, you know, I finished that. I went back quickly, finished school, and briefly came back to Paris, and then I left to Jersey, and I was working in Jersey, and I had other problems and other things, and then when I finally, you know, this long story, I don't know if I told you, I don't know if I'll tell you later or something, but basically there was Jersey period and a lot of stuff going on, and that was a couple of years later when I decided, okay, finally, I'm still thinking about Paris, and I still want to dance, and I still, you know, that's my dream. And I had this super crazy idea that I'm going to be a stripper, because, well, stripper dances and she earns money at the same time, so this is like a great idea, because obviously a pro dancer doesn't earn so much as a part of a troupe, or even like, how do I even get there? I mean, that was the dream. And I didn't really feel like being a teacher. That wasn't something that I don't know what I was thinking, but I wanted to make dance my life somehow. So I thought, okay, that was a nice compromise. That never worked out, by the way. I was to couple auditions, and always something. So I was never a stripper. That was my excellent business plan. So when I came back to Paris, I had like 200 euros or something like that. You know, not a lot. It wasn't like when I came back to Paris, when I had like 40 euros, I was, it was getting better and better. But yeah, so I mean, what do you do with 200 euros? Not much. So I had to quickly figure my way out and my way around. And basically the classes went on the background of my activities. And when I started working a little bit, I was very much into it, survival mode, what I call, and dancing wasn't my priority because it was very difficult to juggle classes and work and stuff like that. So that's where it ended. And then I actually met Thierry, who occurred to be very strange as a person to deal with, hard to communicate with, but that's another story, never meet your heroes kind of situation. And he, I still promised myself, I'll come back, I'll see his classes, because there's no one like him, his style is very, very unique. But now he seems to be more into pas de deux, and I'm not that into dancing with other people and feeling their proximity. That's just, I don't know, I feel weird with that. So yeah, and in the meantime I realized that there are other styles as well that are very that are moving me in a way, like tribal dance, which is like a gothic belly dance kind of. I'll send you a couple of things later. And yeah, in the meantime also what happened when I was first living in Paris, and then I decided to move to London. That was motivated by the idea of acting. So this, dancing and acting were always very close. It was just a question of deciding which one do I want to do more. But always the problem with classes versus money versus realism of this project and stuff like that. So I had this idea when I was in Paris, and I kind of wanted more. I felt like, I'd done everything, which is obviously nonsense, but in my head it was like that. I was just kind of bored, and I wanted to move to bigger and better things. And I thought, okay, London, I'm going back to London. I always wanted to go to London. That was my first idea, which it was. And I said, okay, and I remember I thought of London of some kind of fucking El Dorado, like everything's gonna be fine. And if I made my way around Paris, I'm gonna make my way around London, which isn't untrue, but it's just things work differently. You have to start from zero, and you can't just take your experience kind of like copy paste to another city, because every city has their own rights. So obviously I arrived, and my money ended very quickly, and then I met someone, and so that all went to shit. But anyway, again, that was like a dream that was, again, survival mode. Back square one. Yeah, that happened a couple of times, and so I had to learn the same lesson a couple of times before it actually registered in my subconscious somehow. So